Glad to see you were able to find this video. I'd also be glad to hear from you. Let me know what you want to see or what you're having trouble with so that I can make content that's useful and meaningful to you. With that said, let's jump right in, shall we? Our previous video was the practice portion of our Exponents module, and what we did is we walked through a bunch of examples and looked at how do you handle exponents that are negative or positive or actually have operations associated with the exponent, as well as how do you handle whether or not your base is positive or negative. Really, it comes back to signs being one of those things that just trip people up, which is why we pulled that out as a separate module. But I think going through and just practicing specifically how do you handle an exponent before we go ahead and start building it into an actual equation. We really tried to focus on just how do you handle an exponent. So today's video is the lecture portion of the division and multiplication module within the orders of operation. And if we go back to our acronym, BEDMIS, the D and the M are actually right in the middle. They're the third step. And division and multiplication, just like addition and subtraction, you do them in the order that they appear. So regardless of the acronym, you do not do the division before the multiplication. You do them in the order that they appear. So when you look at your line, after you've cleared all the brackets and you've cleared all the exponents, you're looking for division or multiplication as you work your way through the equation. If you find a division or a multiplication, you will solve that one first. Then you will continue down through your equation. Again, keep track of your signs. I'm saying it at every single module because signs is what's going to get you. It's tricky and it can be a little bit confusing and they're hard to find when you make those mistakes. So I will always remind you, keep track of your signs. So let's go ahead and look at an example. Now, in theory, multiplication and division you should feel comfortable with. This theory in itself should not be complicated. If you are having problems with multiplication and division, I've created some digital flashcards and they are attached to the description section below. You can go ahead and you can either download the app and you can participate on your phone, which is super convenient. It's the way I use the flashcards because I can use them whenever I'm on the go. But you can also use them on a web browser. So if you want to use it on your tablet or your desktop or however else you would like to navigate to the web, you can go ahead and play games and things like that to help you get more familiar with your multiplication, division, and subtraction. But let's go ahead and start looking specifically at the order in which you solve them. So we're not looking at how to go about solving a multiplication or division. It's really focusing on making sure you solve them in the correct order, which the correct order is how they appear within the equation. Okay, so let's look at example A. 4 times 8 divided by 2. Regardless of BEDMIS being the D and then the M, we want to solve them in the order that they appear, so we want to solve the multiplication first. So 4 times 8 is equal to 32, and we drop the rest of the equation. 32 divided by 2 is equal to 16, so our final answer is 16. So in this case, the multiplication came before the division, and you will do the multiplication first. Then you do the division. Let's look at another example. Here we have 72 divided by 9 times 3. This time the first operation that shows up is division. So we're going to do the division before we do the multiplication because we do them in the order which they appear. So 72 divided by 9 is equal to 8, and we drop the rest of the equation. 8 times 3 is equal to 24. There's no further operation, so we can go ahead and say our final answer is 24. Let's look at example C here. So this one has some addition associated with it and some subtraction. So let's go ahead and look at the whole equation. We have 4 plus 2 times 8 minus 6 divided by 3. Now, if we go back to our acronym, BEDMIS, first we look, are there any brackets? No, there are no brackets. Are there any exponents? No, there are no exponents. So now we are at the division and multiplication step. We want to look through our line and see, are there any division or multiplication? And if there is, we want to solve them in the order that they appear. So let's take a look. We have 4 plus 2 times 8. So we have a multiplication. We have 2 times 8. So even though 2 times 8 is right in the middle of the equation, and there are no brackets associated with it, we want to do that first. So we're going to go ahead and say 2 times 8 is equal to 16, and we're going to drop the rest of the equation. Everything to the left, everything to the right. So now we can look at our new line and say, are there any brackets? We have the 16, so we can go ahead and they're just there for legibility purposes. So we're going to go ahead and keep going and see, are there any exponents? No, there's no exponents. Is there any division or multiplication? So let's go ahead and look again. 4 plus 16 minus 6 divided by 3. We do actually have another division. We have minus 6 divided by 3. So minus 6 divided by 3 is minus 2. So we can go ahead and clean up our equation and put minus 2. So now we have 4 plus 16 minus 2. Just a little bit of a reminder, when we did the addition and subtraction, you do them in the order that they appear as well. So let's go ahead and look. Do we have any addition and subtraction? Yes, right out of the gate we have 4 plus 16. Well, 4 plus 16 is equal to 20, and we drop the rest of the equation. 20 minus 2 is equal to 18, and there's no further operation, so our final answer is 18. The thing to remember when you work with equations, you always start, are there any brackets? Are there any exponents? Then is there any division or multiplication? Division and multiplication are on the same step, and even though they're in the middle of the equation, you've got to do those first because it's going to drastically change what your result is going to be. So division and multiplication, as I just mentioned, are the third step. They're done together, just like addition and subtraction were. You do them in the order that they appear. And so, again, division and multiplication in itself should not be complicated for you. If you are having problems with actually multiplying numbers or dividing numbers, please let me know. Use the flashcards or send me a message so that way I can maybe make some collateral specifically on division and multiplication. It's one of those fundamental skills that if you don't have a strong handle on it, it only makes things more complicated. So you really do need to have an understanding with it. Here are some examples that you can go ahead and go through. And these have a combination of addition and subtraction, multiplication and division. The reason I added addition and subtraction in here, I kept brackets and exponents out because in theory, multiplication, addition, subtraction should not be new to you. It's a matter of getting that handle of when do you do certain operations. You want to make sure you do your multiplication and division, they're in the same step, before you do your addition and subtraction. And you do both the division and multiplication and the addition and subtraction on the same step. So when you're at step 3 and you're like, oh, are there any addition or division or multiplication? You do them in the order that they appear. Once you have solved all of the multiplication and division, then can you move to step 4 where you look to see if there's any addition and subtraction. So give your best shot at these questions, and we will take them up on Thursday. We'll walk through each one just like we did with the examples. Our next video is the Thursday video where we're going to take up the answers from those examples that I had just given you. But if you run into any problems beforehand, please reach out to me. The content that I make here is for you, so if you are having problems, you need to reach out to me so that I can make something that's useful and meaningful to you. And you know I love to hear from you, so if you have any questions or any future topic ideas that you would like to see, let me know. Reach out to me in whatever channel suits you best, and I look forward to seeing you at the next video.